Hello everybody and welcome to this brief tutorial on how I draw horses. So the first thing is I look for a reference photo that has a really nice pose to it where all four legs are exposed and you can see them really easily and they all have a nice position where it feels like very animated. So then I do my first sketch here. So my sketch is using some basic shapes here. Today I use some basic shapes rather than the square method that I typically use. The square method is kind of interesting. I might do a separate video on how I do that, but now I then use the liquify tool as well as the I think it's like the distortion, the movement tools. I forgot what they're called, but I make the horse a little bit wider, a little bit longer because my initial sketch was a little bit too short and a little bit, actually no, it was too long. And then I made the legs shorter and I made the body like just a little bit chubbier. So as you can see, I am finalizing my line art here. So this time I'm using the default Medium Airbrush. I decided to try to use that instead of one of my other brushes. So all of the brushes that I do happen to use are free, but I just decided to use the Medium Airbrush this time. So here you can tell I am working on the mane now. I decided on two different mane styles based on the reference photo as well as just playing around with the different styles. This is a very stylized piece rather than like fully realistic. So the tail and the mane, I wanted that to stand out quite a lot. So at this point, I am just blocking out some shading using some hatching, and I actually really like the line art and the sketch a lot better than the final product, and I think a lot of artists would say the same, that they really like the line art or the sketch more than the finished product. But anyways, so here I initially wanted to do this first mane style instead of the black, but then I actually decided later on to do a different mane style. So let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to finalize each of the different mane styles that I wanted to do, just blocking out some shading for the mane here. Finally, I got rid of the reference photo here and I'm starting to work again on the mane and tail here. So yeah, really finalizing the line art. I had a lot of trouble with the horse's chest a lot for some reason. So, okay, here's where it gets a little bit interesting in the process here. So I'm literally just fooling around because I actually posted on my Instagram story, hey, like what mane style do you think works best with this horse? And I was waiting for people to answer the prompt. Oh, here you can see the square method at the top right corner. So that is the other method I use to draw horses, but I don't always use it. But anyways, so I was waiting for people to vote on the mane style and I was just literally fooling around. I was also trying to get the color palette of this horse. So the color palette is supposed to be this is a sun-bleached black horse. However, in my opinion, it started to turn out more like a liver chestnut. So at least I tried and I experimented with this new mane and tail style and I actually really like it. So here in the blue, you can see that I have picked out a different mane style. This is the third iteration of the mane here. And this is the one I ended up going with. It's kind of a mixture between number 1 and number 2 that we saw earlier. But yeah, also too, I just did not want to let go of the sketch here. I really, really like the sketch and the line art, the initial line art here. But we'll eventually get onto the coloring, which is actually right now. So here we go. We are using, I believe, once again, the default Medium Airbrush to do the line art here. I wanted to try, actually, I don't remember what brush I used for the official line art here, but the line art, I really do like the line art as well, actually. Like, once I got over the phase of getting over the sketch and the initial line art, like, here's the official one. It looks great, in my opinion. Oh, man, I think what I want to do is potentially make line art one day and maybe, like, try giving it to people and, like, selling it or whatever. I have no idea. But at this point, I think what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out the official colors that I wanted to use. See, I'm starting to use a dark brown base for the coat here, and I should have used just a very dark brown instead of, like, brown, because like I said, this horse started to turn out like a liver chestnut rather than actually like a black that is tinted with brown. So anyways, what I'm doing is I am actually shading the mane and tail first because I have trouble with shading hair a lot. So I wanted to just kind of get that out of the way. And so determining all of the shadows to get started with is something I wanted to start with. And like I said, this is a new mane and tail style. So the references that I used to kind of come up with this style, I'm going to put on the screen right now. But definitely sort of the My Little Pony look or almost like anime figurines or Briar horse figurines where the hair is not just like individual strands. It's like big clumps and big ribbons of hair. So yeah, as you can see, I am starting to shade that right now. I am still new to this particular style, so it doesn't look quite right, in my opinion, but at least I'm, like, trying it out. I'm trying to experiment with it. Also, too, I don't know how long this took. I will look at the video after I finish this voiceover, but, yeah, it did take me a while just because I was waiting for people to vote on the main style, as well as just, generally figuring out, what I wanted to do for the main, and the shading and the coloring and stuff like that. So I think at this point, we're going to get onto the body really soon here. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, what color I want to do for the body. I started experimenting with blending modes here, so you notice that the mane and tail got a little bit darker. So I put the mane and tail on I believe it was a multiply layer, question mark. So I'm starting to block in the darkest shadows here. And like I said, you'll see as we go along here, this is where it just starts to look like liver chestnut rather than some bleach black. And the thing is, I wanted this horse to stand out. I wanted it to be, shaded well, but at the same time, I didn't want it so dark that you couldn't see any of the shading. And I'm still sort of new to digital art, and shading is not one of my strongest suits in digital art here. But I guess, okay, in this particular style, I'm not the strongest with. If I do a realistic portrait, I'm a lot better. Okay, so let's see what we're doing here. I think, yeah, we're trying to get some highlights here. We're trying to experiment with blending modes a little bit. Here is where I tried to kind of lighten everything up here. I tried to add a background, but it just did not really look that great. But okay, I guess that's the end of the video here. So this was a totally unscripted script here as I was speaking here, but it did finally look like a bleached black. I think what I did is I added a little bit of dark blue on top of all of the layers here to just kind of neutralize the orange tone a little bit. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this brief tutorial. I will be doing a full tutorial, like a slow walkthrough of how I draw horses totally. So please be sure to subscribe to my channel so you can watch that video, and thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everybody.